We're joined now by former HUD Secretary and presidential candidate Julian Castro. Thank you so much for joining us.
Great to be with you.
Yeah, I'd like to just start off with our condolences to you and your family on the passing of your stepmother, Alice, from the coronavirus last month. Is there anything that you'd like to share about her with our audience, and also how COVID has impacted your family personally?
We have lost our stepmother, Alice. She and my father, Jesse, were married for 31 years. Alice was wonderful as a stepmom and as a wife to my dad and a mom. She worked for a long time as a cafeteria worker in one of the public school districts in San Antonio. She had a big heart, always wonderful, cooking a meal for folks, and just terrific to be around. It has really driven home for me how terrible this virus has been to so many families across the country, particularly the circumstances that loved ones have faced because, like my stepmom, they go into the hospital and then oftentimes don't get to see their family members for weeks if they recover, or perhaps ever if they don't. And so my message to people out there is just to take this seriously. Take all the precautions that our public health officials tell you that you should take.
Of course, your state of Texas has been hit hard during the summer surge. What should state or local officials be doing that they're not doing right now that might be able to help control the spread in Texas? And as a father of 2 young children, do you think it's safe for Texas to reopen schools? Are you planning on sending your kids back?
The governor of Texas reopened the state too early, and when he reopened, there wasn't a sufficient amount of testing or contact tracing, which is what scientific experts tell us you need in order to reopen safely. And on top of that, he has not allowed local communities to tailor their own safety precautions, including mandating that schools reopen. And within the next few weeks, likely that will be in person. He's not allowing local communities, local school districts to make that decision. That's a mistake. My hope is that, in the least, state leaders will allow local communities where there is a higher infection rate. They need to be able to control their own destiny by putting safety precautions in place with respect to people going to school and mask requirements and everything else. That has not happened in Texas by and large.
So let me ask you just for a moment to take the political hat off and put the dad hat on. What are you going to do?
Right now, as the father of an 11-year-old who's about to start 6th grade and a 5-year-old who's about to start kindergarten, I don't feel comfortable with my kids going to school in person. I know, from everything that we read as parents, that it would be better for them learning-wise to be able to be in a classroom with a teacher, but I don't think that it's safe right now. I don't think it's safe for the kids, and I don't trust that it's safe for the teachers and the staff either. So I think that we need to get the virus better under control here in Texas, at least, before we allow schools to fully reopen. That's how I feel as a parent. It's also how I feel as a policymaker.
Of course, the Hispanic community in much of the country has felt a disproportionate impact from this virus, especially among essential workers. As Congress struggles to negotiate this next round of economic relief, is there anything specifically that you think that they should do to address that disparity? Well,
what we need are things like hazard pay for frontline workers, whether that's people in meatpacking plants, grocery stores, fast food workers, a number of other occupations, farm workers. Those include a lot of people who are Latino or Latina. On top of that, we need a greater investment in testing and contact tracing so that we can get this virus under control. In the long term, this has really shown us that we need universal health care in this country. We also need to make sure that there's an eviction moratorium extended as part of this new legislation, and direct rental assistance, because we have an evictions crisis on our hands.
Let's turn now to the 2020 race. You're, of course, the former housing secretary under President Obama, and we saw President Trump just last week repeal that fair housing rule to help bring diversity to suburbs. You called that, quote, a naked ploy to drum up racial fears and white resentment. But with many cities still seeing protests and racial upheaval this summer, any concern that playing on those fears could actually work for President Trump?
Donald Trump, I think that he believes he's making a bet that we still live in the 1930s, 40s, 50s instead of in 2020. He's trying to take us backward. And he thinks that if he can just stoke enough resentment and grievance, especially in white Americans, that might be enough for him to eke out a narrow electoral college victory like he did in 2016. And I don't believe that's the case today. Donald Trump right now is losing the suburbs to Joe Biden. That's amazing because usually Republicans win the suburbs. That's why Trump is all of a sudden, using this, to him, I'm sure, obscure rule that HUD did to try and drum up fear and resentment among suburbanites. The problem is, one of the main reasons that suburbanites are leaving Donald Trump and the Republicans is because of his bigotry. They're tired of the division. So by doubling down on this division and bigotry, I actually believe he's going to move more people away from him in those suburbs.
Julián Castro, we thank you so much for your time and your insight tonight.
Thanks a lot, Lindsay.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.